Hey everybody, happy Sunday. I hope that wherever you are and whatever you are doing, you're safe, you are well, and you are with someone you care about who also cares for you, especially at this particularly troubling time in the world. I've been thinking a lot in the last couple of weeks about the channel and about our future and about the things we talk about, and there's been a lot of perceived pushback, both on our channel and also on other channels, where we have not been afraid to discuss what's happening around the world, and lots of people saying, I don't want that, I just want you to talk about happy things. But moreover, a lot of people posting random political stuff that doesn't have relationship to whatever it is we've made a video about. And I was watching a video from SciChick in which she was saying she's noticed it too. And it's made me question who can we trust and what is trustworthy and what is what is true, not what someone tells you is true, what is actually factually true based on your own experiences and the world around you. And that has led me to today's topic, which is one in which, and apologies, I'm not looking at the camera very much today. I'm being a very terrible presenter. I guess my ADHD is on display today. I tend not to give people eye contact when I'm feeling a particular way. I'm worried about trust in the EV world and trust in the automotive world specifically. And today I want to talk to you about whether we can or should or do trust automakers. So earlier this week, at the time of filming, President Trump went to a Ford plant in Detroit. He was a guest of Ford. And as Ford has pointed out, Ford has welcomed every president for decades. I think since the 50s, Ford has welcomed every president to tour the facilities, and President Trump was there. And there was a Ford employee on the floor, I believe, on the factory floor, that heckled the president at one point, and the president flipped him off. That employee has since been laid off, lost their job, and I think they'll be okay. I think there was a GoFundMe set up for that employee, and I think he'll be okay. And we can have this long discussion as to, whether it is appropriate or not to have, to A, heckle the president, and B, whether it's appropriate to engage in that in your workplace. And some people will say yes, and some people will say no. And I'm not here to weigh in on that. But what I am here to weigh in on is the way in which the overwhelming majority of the auto industry has bent over backwards to give the president of the US what he wants. We've seen slowing down of EV adoption, slowing down of EV production, pushing back of emission standards. And I have stood in the same room as Ford's CEO Jim Farley, in which he, more than once actually, many times in fact, in which he waxed lyrical about how amazing EVs were and how it was the future for the company. And now Ford is dancing to a different tune. It's pushing more V8s out, more V6s, going back to gas guzzlers, really pushing out its plans for EVs. Yes, I know there's a new model coming out in the future. But I have a lot of doubt And I know, as someone who covers the industry, my job is to be objective. So I'm talking personally right now. I have a lot of doubt about the future of Ford EVs right now. Ford did it in the past. It made the Ranger EV in the 1990s. Phenomenal truck. Very small, very practical, great for around town. And it feels like with the F-150 Lightning now, we're seeing that history repeat. But it's not just Ford. Stellantis has gone from, we're going to make an electric Charger, we're going to make an electric pickup truck, we're going to do plug-in hybrids, to, we've decided that EVs are not our thing, and we've decided that plug-in hybrids are not our thing, and we're just going to make what customers want. And as many have commented, both online in various forums, but also on our channel, it's not really customers in the US who pick a vehicle. It's dealerships. Dealerships are the ones who buy the vehicles from the manufacturers, and dealerships are the ones who decide the vehicles are going to go on their forecourts. And so therefore there's a disconnect between what automakers say we want and what we actually want. There's a disconnect called the dealership. And I'm sure that dealerships played a large part in this, but I also think that automakers are playing a large part in this because they want to get government funds, they want to get tax rebates and incentives and whatever. And so they are going to work with whoever is in charge because it's easier. Because it's easier to make money doing something that doesn't rock the boat. And I have been told so many times throughout my career to not rock the boat. But I have a different goal in why I do what I do and why I am here, why I am still here, in fact. And that is to make sure that people have the information they need to pick a better future for themselves and their family, whatever that may be. Hopefully a car-free one, hopefully public transit. But now it definitely does not focus for many people around internal combustion engines, no matter how many people will tell us otherwise. And I know if you're watching this outside of the US and maybe outside of Canada and watching this from a distance, you might be looking at this going, it doesn't affect us. We're still seeing, automakers really push forward with EVs. And I'd like to gently, quietly remind you that Stellantis is a big global company. Ford is a big global company, and they do make and produce for other markets. And I have got to a point now where I'm like, are they just looking for an excuse? Are they looking for an excuse to back down? Are they looking for an excuse to say, we tried, it didn't work? And as a parent, and I'm sure many of you are parents too, it reminds me very much about when a child is learning a new skill for the first time, right? They learn a new skill, they start doing something, it's difficult, but it might be fun. It might be a challenge to learn that skill. And after a while, they get the basics. And you say, well done, and you give them lots of praise. And then they may decide they don't like doing it, and they'll go off and find something new. Alternatively, they'll go, I really, really like this, and they will either on their own, hopefully, or with a little encouragement, will work on that new skill and get better at it. And as a parent, it's your job as a parent to support your kids' joy in life. So if your kid finds that there is something that they're really good at and they really like it, you do everything you can to support them. It feels like a lot of automakers right now are looking for the excuse to give up. And the excuse is, it's too hard. I didn't really want to do it in the first place. But they spent a lot of time trying to convince us they wanted to do it. Of course, we're not parents to these automakers, we're customers. It's a very different relationship. But there's also a lot of inherent broken trust that I feel to the EV industry right now, to the auto industry as a whole. And one of the reasons why we've kind of switched what we're doing and what we're making, and in some ways, I know a lot of you have watched this channel for over a decade. I know many more have not. We're returning more to some of our roots, more advocacy/journalism as opposed to just pure journalism, because we think it's time. We think it's needed. And so openly speaking out and going, I don't trust the auto industry, is a horrible, horrible thing to be saying for me in my position right now. But I also know that I'm not the only one. And some people would be like, yeah, well, what about Tesla? Tesla's fine. And when we get a lot of people saying, well, you wouldn't exist if it wasn't for Tesla. And they're normally the people who don't understand that I started covering the industry before Tesla had a single vehicle on the road, or in fact, before Elon Musk was really involved with the company. And, you know, I will turn around today and say that I do not want to have an association with a company that's run by a CEO who has other companies that do things that I find objectionable. And wherever possible, I will find alternatives to working with, or, you know, personally wanting to have a vehicle from that company. I don't think, though, that with Elon Musk's attention elsewhere, Tesla as an electric car company is going to continue to exist in the way it currently is. I think that there has been a bed made, a metaphorical bed made, and people will lie on it. But even Tesla lies. Some of the things Elon Musk has said about full self-driving. Some people will call them lies. Some people will call them extensions to time frames, missed time frames, that whooshing sound as they go past. Other people will go, no, we were sold a lie. It was a charlatan act. Now, I'm not going to say, again, what I think, because I think that's down to each individual. But right now, can we trust the auto industry? Can we trust automakers to make and support and keep EVs on the road? Can we trust specialist EV companies? Or are they just trying to make a quick buck off of somebody else? Because in the last decade, I have seen companies come and go that I have perceived as companies who are not really doing it because they want to make the world a better place or they want to change how people travel, but because a wealthy person decided to invest in a company to sell a product that's not really ready for prime time, but still they're just going to bash out as many as they can and screw the consequences. Or maybe I'm just feeling depressed and down after a week where geopolitical instability looks like it's going to be the new norm for 2026, where things that used to be only thought of and associated with nations in other parts of the world are becoming de rigueur here in the US. I'd love to know your thoughts. Let me know down below what you think. Also, remember that we are 100% Patreon supported. Without you, we wouldn't exist. And I know that I've upset a lot of people in the last couple of months by speaking my mind on certain things and by speaking, I hope, truth to power. But without your continued support and without increased support, we will not be able to continue to exist because we are feeling the pinch so very hard. So if you are able, please consider joining the lists of people scrolling by me right now, because that will make a massive difference. And you can join them from $1.50 US a month. Also, if you've got this far in the video, well done. Let me know in the down below who you think the most trustworthy automaker is right now in the world, and who's the least trustworthy. Look after yourselves. Continue to be the amazing change that you want to see in the world. That's a big vehicle going down the road, and I'll see you this time next week.